Hi, my name's Wilx, and this is episode 4 of Ultimate Alchemy. Today we're going to make diamonds. To do that, we're going to need an arc furnace, an industrial squeezer, a couple of metal presses to automate it all. We're also going to make a flux network. Oh, and getting to the metal presses, we're going to need to make some leather. So I'm going to show you how to make leather as well. So before we get started on that, let's go over any changes I made since last episode. I put in a crude blast furnace and I made myself a bunch of steel. Did that off camera. Again, I used one of the mechanical users with an acceleration wad and 4 speed upgrades. And one of these guys, the ender porcupines. So something I want to cover off, a lot of people start experimenting with the mechanical users on things like this. If you put in 1 wand and 4 speed upgrades, that's the same as having 2 wands pointed at each other. That's fine. Even on a potato computer, it's not going to cause that much lag if you only do 2 wands. Now, when I say 2 wands, I'm referring to that and that, which is the same speed as 2 wands. I just don't have to keep saying it over and over the other way. So I'll just refer to it as how many wands it takes if you don't have speed upgrades. So 2 wands is fine. If you have a reasonable computer, you should be able to get away with 3 wands without any problem. I have a pretty good computer. I've got 4.3 gigahertz i7. I can do 4 wands. But by choice, I'm not going to do it much because it creates quite a bit of lag when I do 4 wands. And I'm going to try to avoid it where I can. However, if the choice was between putting in a 4th wand or a 2nd coke oven, I would create less lag putting in a 4th wand. But we'll get more into the lag in a minute after I set up the Flux network. But just so you know, oh, and for 5 wands, don't do it. Even with a good computer, you're very likely to crash the game. You could even get locked out. If you do get locked out of your game, go into the config on not enough wands and make it so it doesn't work in the user. And then you might be able to get back into your game. I haven't crashed, so I haven't tried that yet. And I didn't crash at 5, but I didn't leave it at 5 very long. All right, and I made this, but we'll get onto that in a minute. I increased the number of my grid power over there. Anything else I did different? No, I think that's it. Okay, so getting on to today's stuff. First thing I should show you how to do is make yourself some flux. So we're going to take, that's netherrack in the floor there. I'm going to light it. I'm going to take this redstone. I'll toss it in there. Hit that. Pick it up. And we have flux. Really simple to do. And you can toss lots of stacks in there and make them all at once. And it's fast. It's easy. Then we take that and we use it to make things like flux cores. This is obsidian, flux, and eyes of ender. Now the eyes of ender, of course, use ender pearls to make them. I think they all, you can get away with lava instead, but I got lots of the other things, so that's fine. And I ended up using a lot more ender eyes than I thought I was going to. I went a little overboard. And making them with the soggy ender pearls was a pain in the butt because I was taking forever to dry them over there. I should have made a much bigger wall, or I should have come up with a better way of making ender pearls. So for ender pearls, you have a few different ways you can make them. You don't have to do the one that I did. For instance, we've got the photogenic insulator and the ender lilies. If I'd thought about it in advance, that's probably the route I would have taken. I got those from just knocking down some tall grass. I have 3 of them, so I could have made 3 of these things and done it that way. Now, question for you, in case you know, Has anybody tried one in a cloche in this pack? Can you grow these things in a cloche? Because I'd rather do that than the photogenic isolator. Because you got to supply it with the pyrogrow. That's not too bad because it's at the first step, energetic infuser. And if we use pulverized charcoal, niter, and fertilizer, which I showed you how to make, the niter is just sandstone and a pulverizer. But that's a lot of different steps if you're going to try to automate it, so I'm not so sure. The other way to do it, there was one more, is you can put it over cryothium dust, which I showed you how to make last episode, and do it that way. That might be a little easier than trying to hang the soggies if you're automating it. But I didn't know I was going to be going hog wild on making this stuff, so that's why I didn't do a little more. All right, flux cores and some flux gives you a flux block. I've already made all my flux blocks and other stuff. Now, flux controller. That's the first thing we're going to make here. So it's just flux core, some flux blocks, and flux. That's the controller for the network. Flux plugs. That's how you put power into the network. I didn't need quite this many, but I went a little over on this, but not too much. Whoops. Take those with us. I went way overboard on this. I didn't need that many flux cores. I needed maybe half that many or less. And that took a whole bunch of those Ender Pros, right? But then it gets even worse over here. So you need at least one of these, the basic flux storage for your network to work properly. So make at least one. That's flux blocks there. But why not, make 6 of them and turn them into a Herculean flux storage? But I didn't stop there. I went hog wild and made it into gargantuan. Herculean is 12 million RF. This is 128 million RF. I really didn't need it that big, but I just wanted to make sure that I was never having trouble with power. I think I'm just going to put it here. It can go anywhere. It's wireless. It doesn't matter where the hell you stick it. I'll stick this on top. Again, they could be on other sides of the thing, and it wouldn't matter. It's all wireless. And first off, it says, please select a network. See this little plus sign here? That's create a network. And we'll leave it at that name. Actually, we should call it Wilx's network. There we go, Wilx's network. And we'll create that. And then the config here, that just means that the things in my hand will get charged. Oh, and the other thing you got to do is wireless charging. If you wanted to charge things on you, you got to enable that. And it can handle 256,000 RF per tick. That's set up. So this, we got to select the network, which is that one. And boom, it's set to go. Doesn't take a lot to set that up. Now, I set this guy up here. And what we're going to do is we are going to take one of our flux plugs, stick it there, select the network, and boom, it's now feeding power in. And it's handling both of those. So for these two, we'll put it over here. Click on the network, and boom, it's getting power for those ones. Oh, and hiding down there is where I put that wireless RF battery. Now, I said I was going to talk a little bit more about lag. Right now, I only have acceleration ones, so basically 2 ones, the way I say it, pointing at each one of these. And I talked about the lag it would create. So let's just run a real little test right now. I'm going to take this one and, oh, I don't have it on me. Give me 3 more wands and one of these. So in this one, actually I need 2 more wands. Oh well. Put that there. And we'll put just a wand in that one. So this one now has 3, this one has 4. And then we'll use lag goggles. This doesn't come in the pack. I had to install it. I hit insert, and we bring up lag goggles. And 30 seconds is not enough. So I'm going to hit my scroll wheel, scroll it up to at least 60 seconds. Even there, it's not too accurate. You should do it for a little bit longer. Press the button, and we go world, because that's for tick. It's not like it's showing anything, so it's not really an FPS thing. It's a world tick time thing. And that's going to take 60 seconds for it to do. Cutting away. Okay, we're back. It's just about finished, and there we go. So, as we can see, these things are at 1. I'm surprised they're not higher than that, because this one down here is a little higher. It's at a 5. I don't know what the difference is there. These are all at 1s. This one here is at a 7, and that one's at a 35. So this one has 2 in it. That has 1 in it. That one goes up to an 8. So you can see if I started putting them in all of these, even without this one here, this little system here is causing more lag than the rest of my base. Like when we look around at the other things, the only other place is doing, again, using an overclock generator. So I might try to stay away from overclock generators. But there's not much else that's causing, this is 2. Or even back here, it's 2. So there's not much else that's causing lag in this game. You're a 1. But these things, causing all sorts of it. So I think I see a reactor in my future. All right, so let's bring this up again and hide the latest results. Okay. Oh, and before we go away, let's take these out. We don't need them. Because, yeah, we're already half full on this guy. Actually, we need to clean some of the stuff out of my inventory. I'm not going to be able to do the next part with it. All this. Okay. All right, so we're taking care of that. Let's get on to making diamonds. Whoops. All right, so to make diamonds, you use an arc furnace. You use compressed cobalts. Compressed cobalts are dense cobalts in a metal press. We use little wee compressed cobalts with some bricks. And the cobalts that I showed you how to make last episode are what go in there. So we need 2 metal presses in this. And we need the arc furnace. So that's what we're making right now. So we're going to need some steel scaffolding. Not all of these are just for the metal presses, but it's going to be for machines. Whoops. Redstone engineering blocks. Pistons. Notice I needed leather to make these. So how the hell did I get leather? Well, there's a couple of different ways you can get leather. So we can use the atomic reconstructor with rotten flesh. Or if we get any cooked meat or something, we can dry it. Well, here's fish. We can go fishing and get fish. And then we can dry them and get that. I mentioned that in the comments to somebody that asked me about leather. And somebody named Alicia Mingo suggested that I get myself one of the thermal foundation rods, which sounded like a good idea. This one is an Electrum, which gives you 5 levels of lure. which is the highest you can go on lure. And it means that when I cast it out there, it goes pretty quick before I get a fish. Don't have to wait very long at all. Oops, I blew it. That's the first time I've blown it in ages. What did I get? I got a bow? All right. But anyways, you can get either raw fish or raw salmon. You cook those. Actually, let's get rid of this thing too. And then you hang them up, hang the cooked fish up, and you get leather. All right. Now, I would be better off with a diamond one or a platinum one, but those are pretty expensive for the little bit I was going to be using them. I don't consider it's just gold and an energetic infuser for the Electrum, so that was cheap. Conveyor belts, heavy engineering blocks, an engineer's workbench. I had to make the treated wood, which was made with creosote. And the projector, the lantern is made glowstone, iron plates, glass panes. And the engineer's blueprint. Now, one of the things you need is the electrodes for the arc furnace. And I always think of blueprints when I go to make electrodes. So I went looking for the blueprint for the electrodes. This isn't it. This is the one for the molds. Now, I went looking and looking and looking, and I just couldn't find this thing anywhere. After like an hour of looking, I figured out that it just wasn't in this game, period. Or at least there was no way to get it. I then started going, well, the only way you can get this is by trading with villagers, but I didn't know you could get villagers in this game, and I went looking for ways to try and get villagers. And I wasted hours trying to figure out one stupid thing. How do I get the blueprint for the electrodes? And then finally it dawned on me. I feel upset that I was so stupid. Take a look at the list here. One of the molds is a rod. The rod mold is what you use to make the electrodes. I didn't need the blueprint at all. I can make this instead. I felt so stupid after that. So don't worry, I'll figure these things out and I will show you. But even I can fall into those traps where I can't figure this stuff out. All right, so that's enough to get started. That'll get us started on the metal presses. Let's get those placed. Let's get this thing out of my inventory for now anyways. Okay. Now, for our projector, what we do is we take our engineer's manual, we open it up, and we're going to find ourselves the metal press. So it's on the page for the metal press now. So then we take the engineer's manual with the correct page opened in it, put it with that, and this now says metal press projector. We come here, and then if I press the middle mouse button, which is basically my scroll wheel, it'll flip it around, and I can point it whichever way I want. So now that I got the right spot, I'm lining up with that barrel over there. I'm going to right-click the ground. Then if I hover over the correct block, it'll see the white wire frame around that thing? I place it there. I hover this block, place it there, and there. When I have that row completed, brings me up the next row. Well, we'll place piston there. That's not pointing the right way, so we're going to use this to rotate it. We could have used the wrench to rotate it too. It doesn't matter. And then for placing these things, look where my arrow is pointing. If I move it, look at my cursor is. If my cursor is pointing over here, the arrow points that way. If my cursor is pointing there, my arrow points that way. I want it going there. So we right-click with it over there. So we aim my cursor to that edge, and now it's sort of running through it, if you understand what I mean. Then up here gets a heavy engineering block. Well, it's a redstone engineering. There we go, heavy engineering. And see the green wire frame around it now? That means that we got it correct. So we take this and we right-click the middle, and boom, we have a metal press. So now we're going to need to give our metal press some power. And I don't have on me. It doesn't need that much power, so I'm just going to use one of these little guys here. And that's going to be able to power a few different things. I guess I'll put it right about there. So now this thing here has power. See, it's up to full power. Okay. Now, we need to make some stuff for this. We need to make the molds. Oh, to make the molds, I am going to need engineer's wire cutters. And do I have this? Yes, I got steel on me. So we come over here, we put in our blueprint, we give it some of these and this. Now we can make them. I'm going to need one of these eventually. I need two of these pretty much right away. So we come over here, we take one of these, and we'll pop it in there. Now, we're going to take a barrel. I'm going to put it on the end here for it to go into. Now, normally for a regular chest, it can pull out of there directly. You don't need a hopper or whatever to do it. This thing's not, so we're just going to basically kind of cheat it in with a flat transfer node. Comes along here, it gets stamped, gets sent over there, and put in there. So, first step, so good. Now for our next step, we are going to use a crafter. We'll put it right there, so the crafter can draw from that. Underneath our crafter, we're going to drop down a redstone furnace. And it can get power from here because I'm not doing anything special to it. Whoops, there. Then we're going to take something I don't have on me. I need one of these and one of those. Now, I'm going to place it under here, so I first off have to, that makes it gravel. Definitely need a faster layout. And the only thing that I have trouble with are these ender chests. There we go. So you are going to input from this side. We'll put auto input on. Take the auto output off, but have it output to the top. Then I'm going to need at least one of you and one of you. Come into our crafter. And there, now it's making our dense coal balls. This doesn't need to be fast at all. It's going to be way faster than the rest of the system. So now, we're going to be pulling out of this thing. So, again, we're going to take our projector. Now we'll right-click there. And we'll put down you, you, you. Like that. And a piston. We're not going to need you anymore. Where's my piston? Oh, there. Again, we got to turn you. Whoops. There we go. And a heavy engineering block. Whoops. Don't throw them on the ground. And what's wrong? It didn't like the way I did that. Damn it. Well, let's see if it works anyways. Yes, it did. Okay. That worked fine. All right. So now we're going to need to stick a barrel. What it didn't like is the thing was going that way in the diagram, and I didn't bother spinning it around. I didn't think I needed to. We'll put one of those there. We'll take our mold. We'll put it up there. And then a flat transfer. We'll put it there. So far, so good. Now we're getting the next type. All right, let's get ready to make the next thing. Our arc furnace. We need a cauldron. We need some steel sheet metal. Some blocks of steel. Light engineering blocks. 27 reinforced blast bricks. Fluid pipes. Oh, we're already on to the next machine. That's fine. We'll just finish off. Wooden barrel. Steel fence. Oh, and we did those for the arc furnace. Because I missed them the first time I set it up. All right, so our book, we need you again. This time we're doing an arc furnace. So we're on the correct page. Whoops, can't shift into there, right? That makes it an arc furnace projector. Now, which way do we want this facing? That's the front. Do we want it over one? No, we'll put it over two from there. Okay, so now, things. We don't need you. I do need you. I don't need you. See how we fare here. This I know goes here. Not really highlighting it the way I would have expected, but oh well. We'll go to the back corner here and we'll start putting down our half slabs. And over here we have and scaffolding goes there. Heavy engineering goes here. And blocks of sheet metal. There and there. Okay. Redstone engineering goes there. You go there, there. Heavy engineering there and there. Don't need those anymore. Oh, and don't need that anymore for this machine anyways. Whoops, wrong spot. Let's not be flying when we do this. Okay. You go there. You go there. 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 Lights there. Light here. Scaffolding. And you are lights again. And more scaffolding. And we got our green wireframe, which means we did it all correctly. And then right-click U, and boom! We make all sorts of noise. Now, before we can use... Oh, we're going to need to give this thing power, so let's let it power up right away. Where are my... I put them away. I was dumb. I'm going to need at least a couple of those Flux points. And we put one of those right here. Whoops. Set it to our network. And this thing's full of power already. Okay, but before we can use that, we need to make some electrodes. To make some electrodes, we need to make ourselves a squeezer. So out of this to the squeezer. Put that there. Put this. We now got a squeezer one. Okay. And I can never figure out which way is which for this. I think it's like that. I could be wrong. Okay. One there. Scaffolding goes there, there. Pipe. Doesn't look like much like pipe in my inventory, does it? Redstone engineering block. And we need some wooden barrels. You didn't go in the right spot. That's one thing I like about the AOT is I don't have to worry about whether I get using an axe or a pickaxe. It does both. Light engineering goes there. It's good. Our last piston. There. And finally our steel. And I think it's there. Yes. We got it. And that's the front. Yay! We did that. Okay. Power is this little sort of orange dot here on top of this thing. I don't know if there's other places you can put power too, like that thing here maybe. But this works. And you're all powered. Okay. So now we are going to need some stuff. Specifically, this is coke dust, which is, I pulverized it. Cold coke. Cold coke is made the regular way. Why it doesn't show here, I don't know. I made it by putting coal in the coke oven. I don't know why NEI is being cheap and not showing it to you. We come over here. We put, that would have been a good idea to bring it with me after I went there to get it, wouldn't it? We'll grab these while we're here too. Okay, and this is going to happen almost instantaneously. There we go. They're done. It wasn't quite instantaneous, but it was still pretty damn fast. Then we're going to take, and we need to cook those suckers. I haven't given you power of any sort yet, have I? Let's do that. Up a little bit. Whoops. Didn't mean for you to go there. Okay. Now you've got power. So that's a furnace, that's a pulverizer. And I think I'll even speed these guys up. We'll grab, actually I don't need that stuff anymore. Oh, I might have kept that, I don't know. That and that and that. Could have just wanted it, I guess. But this will make it faster even with the wand. And so then from there, we stick this stuff in. I'm not even going to have time to reach for a wand. That's pretty quick. Come over here. Oh, no, it's not in there. It is. See, I've got on the brain that that's how I do it. I need that. And we're going to change you over. Then I'm going to take up here. No, not up there. Drop them down here. There we go. Oh, and these things are at 50%. I don't know how to repair them in this pack. I tried it with an energetic infuser and the right augment, and it didn't work. They didn't improve. There probably is a way. I just don't know what it is yet. Let me know in the comments if you do. To make them last longer, you can enchant them. I haven't tried that in this pack. I assume it works that way in this pack as well. So now that we got those, we will come over here. We will grab as much as we can of this. And we'll put a whole bunch of lapis in there. And put that in. And that turns into diamonds. Notice it doesn't use 1 for 1 on the lapis. It uses a little bit less lapis. Lapis is kind of like a fuel or something. But we now have diamonds. Okay, so that's pretty much it for this episode. However, I am going to ask a favor of you. Recently, I've been putting a lot of time and effort into the pack, and I have been kind of neglecting the straight commission sales job that I have. So I am turning out to be very short of cash, especially for next month. I'm not going to have money for food. If anybody can help me out on Patreon, I really appreciate it. If you could join up there, I'll put a link in the description for this to my Patreon account. For those of you that can't afford Patreon, and I know there's lots of that, please consider things like taking off ad block when you watch my channel, and other things you can do, like speaking well of me on various different forums. I think they're pretty sick of me on Feed the Beast Reddit, but I don't attend any of the other forums. Or liking my videos, or liking any posts that I do on Reddit where I've got a link to one of my videos, etc. Anything to help promote the channel a little bit would help. And I really appreciate any support that you guys offer. Well, I hope you learned something new from this. Go out there and have some fun. Thanks.